This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, we are back, baby. Yes, Aaron Wilson, my buddy, ready to talk with us a little bit about what's going on. You can follow him on Twitter at @AaronWilson_NFL. Aaron, good morning, sir. How are you doing, my friend? Thank you for taking some time.
Morning. Thanks for having me. And yeah, doing great. Thank you.
All right, good to hear from you, my man. All right, so the whole Watson thing has come up again. And Aaron, I got to tell you, I've gotten kind of cynical about this because every time it's come up, nothing has happened. And I almost feel like this is the same thing again. It's come up, and this time, I don't know, Aaron, man, I keep feeling like it's coming all from the Houston side, that they're trying to stir this thing up, not so much on the Miami side.
Right.
So walk me through all this. What do you know? Because McClain is as respected as it gets in our business, obviously. And when he throws it out there, you kind of wonder, okay, wait a minute, he's not making stuff up. So this throws me for a loop here. So walk us through all of this.
Right. Yeah. I'm only going to comment on reporting, not any respect to everyone and their reporting. But yeah, I'll tell you what I believe, what I know, and leave it to that if that's all right with you. What I can tell you is no trade is imminent. They continue to hold trade discussions. They are more optimistic now than they were before. That still doesn't mean that a deal will be struck. And it's very complicated, as we've outlined many times, because of his unresolved legal situation. I'm not even referring to the lawsuits. I'm referring to the presence of 10 criminal complaints that are still being investigated by the Houston Police Department, including 8 litigants in 22 civil lawsuits, 2 non-complainants, 2 non-litigants among the complainants. So 2 of the 10 are not suing DeShaun Watson for alleged sexual harassment and or sexual assault. And because the grand jury that's been impaneled hasn't heard the case yet, this hasn't come before them. What I expect now is that the November 2nd trade deadline will come and go without any word from the Harris County District Attorney's Office and their human trafficking division. That's who handles sex crimes, alleged sex crimes. So because you don't have that closure, the Miami Dolphins or any other team, you are flying blind because you don't know when he'll become available. So you're hoping that everything will go fine with legal. But when even his own attorney, Rusty Harden, couldn't tell you what's exactly going to happen, other than, they feel like, they have refuted the allegations, said that he's not guilty of any crime. He has not been charged with a crime. It creates a major uncertainty. And I would just say this, it does affect trade negotiations. How could it not? So what you have here, Big O, is a situation of the Texans, as motivated as you could be to move on while not sacrificing. Sorry for the I've been traveling a lot and I'm a little cold.
You're good, man.
While not sacrificing the value of a potential franchise-altering move with such a dynamic talent, the Dolphins seemingly in desperation mode at 1-5. The Texans leaning into their rebuild and, basically, doing nothing what you would say a team that say, hey, we're going to contend this year. No, they cut one of their leading pass rushers, Whitney Merciless, in franchise history when they already owed him the money, just simply to make room for younger players to get on the field more because he was taking up some of those snaps. They're not trying to push for anything right now. They just want to position themselves for the future. The Dolphins, I believe that, when you do things come out. When you don't have a deal, you always have to wonder about the agenda. And here's the agenda. You want the Dolphins to give and give until it hurts. Right. And make sure that the trade is right where you want it. So now that they've said, hey, we're optimistic through sources, you can, probably you've been doing this long enough, you can ascertain how that happens. Then you have pressure on the Miami Dolphins. Chris Greer, Brian Flores, and we're going to see who blinks. And it's a game of brinkmanship. You're heading right down to the deadline. I'll tell you something. Why does this deal have to happen now? Well,
exactly.
It changes things for the Dolphins. It shows, hey, we're trying to do something. It won't salvage their season. And I believe, despite what many have said, the NFL would have put him on the exempt list if the Texans had attempted to play him or if he'd wanted to play, which he didn't. I think that jeopardy of him being shut down, regardless of whether he's not indicted or, if he's indicted, obviously he would go automatically on the exempt. That's the rule. But if he is not charged, I could still see the NFL be like, ho, wait a minute. For public relations, they could try to shut him down. You could try to fight it. I don't know if you'd have any success at all. It's all up to Roger Goodell, what he feels like doing.
The NFLPA will have something to say about that also, Aaron.
They don't have any power to go.
Oh, really? Okay.
You think it's a strong union that has a lot of flex? No,
it's not baseball. No.
Yeah, I'm talking about reality, not what people might try and what they say and all those things. I'm just talking about what could happen. So if he gets shut down, and then you're looking at when the cases get settled, the lawsuits is not immaterial, but that's more public relations. It's about the criminal case, and that hasn't gone away. If he somehow avoids an indictment, that's possible because there's no audio, video, or DNA evidence that we've heard about. She said it's a very serious case, very serious allegations, and I take those allegations very seriously. As someone that, I've had some things, I've said before, taken out of context, and I've had situations come up like with this story. It's a very thorny, difficult, and complex and serious story. Oh, what I would say is it may not happen. There's a possibility that, as you alluded to, we have another false start.
Right.
I would just say, as motivated as everyone is, the deal's got to be just right. And then you have the Tua Tagovailoa situation. And no one, including the Texans, seems to want him to make him their guy. So what's the exit strategy? How do you unload Tua? And if you're the Texans, and I've heard about this, that there could be another deal because it's like they're going to look to use some of this capital, not just draft. So, and that's a developing situation, kind of a wish situation that may or may not develop. That said, and I can't say more about that one right now because I need to do more reporting on it. It's very complicated, and it wouldn't surprise me either way if it happened, doesn't happen. I think it's like a 50-50 situation right now, Bigo. And, as motivated as everyone is, I think everybody has to be very realistic that there's a lot of things that don't make this a normal trade situation. If it was simply just the player wants to be traded and he loves Miami and he loves to hang out in the Miami, in Wynwood and all those things and vacation there and has friends on the team like Christian Wilkins, former Clemson teammate, then sure. But it's not that simple. And football is not the most important thing here. The perspective has to be, this is a legal matter. This is a very serious legal matter. And that can't be ignored. And if that's pushed aside, if the cart's put before the horse about, I can't wait time on the football field, well, then you lose sight of the big picture. The big picture is you have to take care of one step to get to another, and then eventually he can wear another team's uniform, which is his wish. I actually saw DeShaun yesterday, nodded my hello, and I was there at the Texans facility there to get my COVID test so I can cover practice and press conferences. And, he is there every day working out, training with the strength coach and doing what's required and waiting for that day when he can be free and play for another team. The Texans would like nothing more than to do that, but it's got to be done the right way.
Aaron Wilson, NFL insider in Houston, joining us. Remember, you can follow him on Twitter at Aaron Wilson_NFL. And Aaron, obviously doing this for 31 years, you get cynical. So I'm trying to think of, is Houston doing this because they know something about the case that's bad that could be coming, or is it because Houston knows something that they feel like he's going to get cleared when it's all said and done, so they have more confidence that they can try to move him. I almost get a feeling of either or, good or bad, and they're trying to unload at this point in time. So why? And then the cynical part of me says, why rush it now? And if you're rushing it, do you know something bad? If not, why not wait? Because if you know something's good going to happen and he's going to be cleared, then wait till the offseason when you can raise the price sky high because he's innocent and ready to go. So the cynical part of me goes, what else is going on? What's the other layer of the onion that we haven't peeled away? What is it? You know what I'm saying? Do you know?
Big O, I'm with you. And there's a fear of the unknown for all parties involved, including the Texans. Here's a worst case scenario for you that's very realistic. And I've been told this by several of my legal sources that have knowledge of the case and of the situation and the NFL. If charged, it would be a felony charge, because normally what happens with the grand jury, they don't indict you on a misdemeanor. You're normally just directly charged by Houston Police Department. If they were to charge him, hypothetically, then you go through the intake process, fingerprinting, booked, and you have arraignment, you have bail, you have all those situations. Then you have jury selection, you have all that stuff. I'm told that he wouldn't go to court until late next year. So what that would mean, an indictment is kind of automatically commissioner's exempt. You're not going to get to play while you have your case. That's not going to happen. They're not going to have that kind of circus. NFL's not going to look that tone deaf. They might be tone deaf, but they're not that tone deaf. So he would not be allowed to play. He could be on a different team. He could do all those things. He could be paid. And then he's unavailable. Then let's say he beats the case. Okay. Because he's got a great lawyer in Rusty Hardin, who successfully represented Roger Clemens, Adrian Peterson, many others, wins a lot of cases, legal heavyweight. And you just have the civil suits that take 2 to 3 years possibly to settle. He could still play with the civil suits, but until the criminal thing is resolved, it can be very hard to get him on the football field. And that can also an NFL suspension where they punish you after adjudication if you are convicted of anything or you played a no contest or whatever it might be. Then 2023, you have a potential unavailability, maybe it's 6 games. So if you are trading for him, you're Brian Flores and Chris Greer, have to know all that. That's possibly what's going to happen. And I wonder if they'd even be around, those gentlemen, at the end of it. We're talking about not just 2021, we're talking about 2022 and part of 2023. Now, if none of that happens, none of that doomsday scenario, he's not indicted, he gets traded, and everything is free and clear except for civil suits, which basically are a public relations problem and a money problem for him. He's already spent at least $2 million on Rusty Hart with $1 million retainer to start. He's a $1,000 an hour lawyer. That's on him, and that's why you have a $156 million contract. You've got the wherewithal, the financial ability to defend yourself that way. That said, there's a lot here. That's why I think it's the unknown. And if it's you may steal, you can. If you're worried, that worry is the wrinkle in all of this. I don't know how Miami feels. I haven't spoken to those gentlemen, Flores or Greer. I would just say they were not born yesterday. They're going to think about all that. And that's why they would ask for conditional picks, lower the value, all those things, because they're dealing with risk.
Right.
There's a risk here. And the risk reward is great, because what are we talking about? We're talking about a blue chip talent. He's like a blue chip stock that's down right now. It skyrockets if he's available and he's on the field for you. I can tell you this, I highly doubt that he'll have another problem. I think that, this is obviously a, life-changing moment for him and I expect him to do a good job whenever he's allowed to rehabilitate his image, to make some sort of contrite gestures, whatever he might have to do, he'll do it. But that's the easier part. They're not at that stage. Everything is on the line right now. The pressure couldn't be higher.
That's crazy. All right. Follow him on Twitter at @AaronWilson_NFL. Always great insight on what's going on around the league. And obviously he's keeping up with the Deshaun Watson story. Very few are even closer to this story than Aaron Wilson. Aaron, I appreciate you, my friend, as always, for taking some time and giving us a little clarification on all the mess that's going on there. I appreciate you, my man.
Thanks, Big O. Appreciate you. You have a great day. Thanks very much.
You got it, baby. You be good. There you go. Aaron Wilson, Aaron_NFL on Twitter. Follow him there.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.